Environmental engineers in NUS save the planet and do much more, developing advanced wastewater and water treatment technology, optimizing water reclamation processes and protecting natural resources, managing sustainable clean energy, state-of-the-art waste management, combating air pollution for public health, integrating urban infrastructures with the environment, exploring alternative water resources such as stormwater, join us to engineer tomorrow's environment, create a better world for future generations, giving back to the community and helping those in need. Enjoy the close mentorship from world-class educators. Welcome to NUS Civil and Environmental Engineering. Let us shape a sustainable future for Singapore, Asia Pacific region, and the world.
Good afternoon. Thanks for taking your time to participate in Civil and Environment Engineering Program e-open house chat session this afternoon. Please feel free to send us your questions to the Zoom chat. We will get back to you as soon as possible. And I'm the Professor Hu Jiangyong, Director of the Environment Engineering Program and also moderator of this session. And now I'm going to introduce the panel with me this afternoon. My most left is the gentleman Olivia, and he's our assistant dean taking care of the student life. And then next to assistant professor Olivia is Ho Chen-Yu, Miss Ho Chen-Yu. She's our year 4 environment engineering student, and she's also ex-ESAC president. And next to Chen-Yu is Mr. Tan Guanghao. Tan Guanghao is also our year 4 environment engineering program student. And with us, we also got Professor Bala, who's a deputy head of a special project of our civil and environment engineering department. He will help us to handle the questions you sent through the room chat. So first of all, I believe actually students actually come into this session would like to have those questions in your mind. What is environment engineering about, and why they should consider environment engineering? So now I would like to invite Dr. Olivia to give a short presentation about the environment engineering and what is that about. Okay, so Olivia, please.
Thank you for the nice introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I hope we are having a fruitful session. And I would like to start talking about environmental engineering and why environmental engineering is important for the future and why environmental engineering means progress. Indeed, the thing that I want you to pay attention to is that our planet is a very fragile ecosystem. And generally speaking, we're not taking very good care of it at this time. That means that the planet is under a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. Next slide, next slide. And one of the main problems that you may have heard of is climate change. So climate change is caused by the CO2 emissions and other greenhouse gas that, of course, create a phenomenon that's called global warming with lots of negative consequences. Next. So in order for you to realize the scale of the problem, imagine that there are more than 26 billion tons of CO2 that are emitted yearly. Just to give you the scale, a sense of how big that is, imagine that all human beings of this planet put together, we are only about 1 billion gigaton of carbon. So it means a massive problem. And the numbers are still growing. Next. So this picture here shows you like a country in Africa, where this picture was taken a little while ago. And so what you're seeing is that people at that time, when they want to read, they have to go under the street because this is where they get public lighting. Nowadays, if you go there, you'll see that there are actually a lot less people in the street because those people now are getting electricity at home, and you can't blame people for wanting to live in the comfort of their home. So what I really want you to understand is that climate change and environmental problems are very connected to energy. So what we really need is energy miracles and different types of energy sources next that are really needed and are at the core of environmental engineering. But climate change is only the tree that hides the forest. And in Singapore, we're very well located to know about all the other environmental problems, such as the haze, for example, that comes from the deforestation of Indonesia, the haze, which is air pollution. Air pollution kills people, and especially children, and are particularly at risk. A final environmental problem that I would like to connect it to is simply the growth of population. We need to be fed. It means we need to have intensive agriculture. It means we have pesticides, and pesticides are polluting. Pesticides cause cancer. Pesticides kill our bee who are doing a very important service to us. So important to remember the service that nature does to us for free. If it doesn't do it, then we will need to do it ourselves, as displayed by this photo of a pollination by hand in China. So environmental engineering, extremely important topic. I will stop this presentation here.
Thank you, Olivia, for a very nice presentation which covers the wide scope of environment engineering. And now let's see whether we have questions from the participants regarding our environmental engineering program. Prof. Do you have any questions on board?
Yeah, one of the questions is about our curriculum and in the undergraduate program that we offer in environmental engineering. So could you tell us more about the subjects that are being introduced to students as they progress from year 1 to year 4?
All right. Okay. Let me actually take this question to share with our potential student what they are going to go through in their 4-year learning experience in US environment engineering program. So when they come to the year 1, and they are going to have a lot of common engineering modules, as well as some university requirement modules, which prepare them with a very solid foundation. And when they come to the year 2, and they will have a lot of modules, which is about the process, okay, relevant to the different type of engineering, and such as environmental process, water science and technology, waste management, and so on. And then come to the year 3, then they will learn all the core modules in the environmental engineering program, including the air pollution control, including the water and wastewater treatment technologies, including microbiology principles and so on. And then they also got a chance to go overseas for a student exchange program, and also have the chance to go industry to have their internship. And then come to the year 4, they will finish up this education in the US by taking quite a number of technical electives especially, as well as they're going to conduct quite a number of the projects like design projects, final year projects, to get themselves well prepared.
All right, here's a question from one of the participants. What's the difference between environmental engineering and environmental science?
All right, environment engineering program here is a professional degree. We have 4 years very solid training for the student, and after graduation, student, if they continue practice in the environment engineering field, and they will get themselves ready for professional registration. For example, they can register for chartered engineer. They can also register for professional engineer if they have written, if they have read a minor program, which is minor in civil infrastructure. So this is probably the unique feature of environment engineering program, which can offer to our potential student. So, Prof. Bala, is any other questions coming from our participants?
Yeah, there's one more question. The question is like, if I want to apply for the master's program in environmental engineering upon completing the undergraduate degree, how do I go about doing it?
Well, we have the sharing session for the potential students who are interested in our master program upon their graduation, and they will just make sure they apply and by preparing all the documents and apply before the deadline, and then we will also actually equip them actually by sharing with them all the important information they have to include in their application material. So you already come to the year 4, we will actually get this information actually shared with our potential student, especially our undergraduate student, if they're interested. And on top of that, NUS do have a policy allow our graduate to come back to read our master program and with very favorable, kind of consideration. So our potential student can really actually consider this as a very important aspect for their career development.
All right. More questions are popping up. How is environmental engineering related to civil engineering?
Okay, maybe I can take this one. Environmental engineering is connected to civil engineering historically, in the sense that the construction of sewage, the design of wastewater treatment plants. However, it has evolved into its own discipline over the time. So it really, so how much you want it to be connected or how much you want it to be distinct, I think is up to you, in the sense that you can build up your own experience. Environmental engineering is more chemistry based and more biologically based than civil engineering. If you like civil engineering, we do have a minor in civil infrastructure, but if civil engineering is less your cup of tea, you can also be more focused on the chemical or biological aspects of engineering, as well as consultancy, regulatory. There's really something for everyone, I think.
Thank you, Dr. Olivia. Students usually wonder how are they going to apply their knowledge if they learn from the environment engineering program into the practice. Do you have some interesting information you can share with our potential students?
Yes, indeed, because we don't want teaching to only take place in the classroom. As I mentioned in the slides that I presented earlier, environmental engineering is very applied. The problems are real, and so we want to take our students to the field and we want them to solve real problems. For example, we have a year 1 module in which the students team up as environmental consultancy teams that are doing a real project in partnership with Singapore Botanic Gardens. So we share our results, we monitor the water quality in the lakes, and then we share the results with Botanic Gardens and with NEA. So this is how we involve you with the real problems. We also have a full module that is entirely dedicated to solving real problems, and I think we have a video about that we may play now.
Yeah, let's take a look at that video. It's very interesting. It's a group of students with our faculty member to work on a sustainability problem overseas.
Yeah, so I actually had the opportunity to take this module last year, and it was getting to go on site was a very exciting opportunity because I got to take the knowledge and skills that I learned in the classroom to apply in real life context to try and think of how to improve the system. So what we did was that we went to a rural village in Bintan, Indonesia, to install a septic tank for them that we had modified throughout our semester. So getting to see and evaluate firsthand the different challenges and problems, but also the benefits in implementing these environmental engineering solutions. It was a very valuable experience that really enhanced my learning in environmental engineering in NUS. But on top of that, we also have industrial attachment, which Kwan Hao will share about now.
Okay, so I was very fortunate to be part of actually a Singapore refinery. So this refinery was based in Jurong Island, and it's called Singapore Refining Company Private Limited. So I was attached to the Health and Safety Environment Department. So in terms of that, I had the opportunity to learn more about even the oil and gas chemical industry, as well as the engineering part for environmental engineering. So we learn more about the carbon tax that's implemented. So how does it actually affect refineries per se in Singapore? So all these experiences are things that as an environmental engineer, you can look forward to taking away during the industrial attachment. Aside from that, you can definitely learn through a presentation to your supervisors as well as to professors, and it actually builds up on your soft skills as well as your technical skills overall. So I believe the whole experience was very fruitful for us environmental students.
All right, a few more questions coming up. One of the questions is sewage management covered under the environmental engineering?
Yes, certainly. Right. We have a couple of electives as well as core modules dealing with sewage process, engineering, technologies, as well as management. So certainly this is a very important subject we would like to actually include it in our environmental engineering program, and you will be well trained in this particular area.
All right.
Any more?
Yeah, the question about career prospects. So is it possible to give some specific examples of the kind of jobs that graduating students would get?
All right, regarding the career perspective, I think Dr. Olivier has prepared some of the slides which can share with you what kind of a career our environment engineers is able to play after their graduation. So maybe I invite Dr. Olivier to give a short presentation on this.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, it's true that sometimes environmental engineering being a relatively newer environmental disciplines, we get a lot of this kind of questions that most people don't really know what environmental engineers do. And so really what I want you to think about next is that environmental engineering all starts about regulation. As I said previously, there are we are not taking very good care of the planet as mankind in general. And thus it's important to have regulations to force us to take care of the planet. So what the environmental engineer does is that he starts by looking at what the regulations say and then figure out how to solve the problem and how to meet those targets, bearing in mind the cost and the timeline. Sometimes we tend to get caricatured as tree huggers, and indeed I think that one of the very important characteristics of environmental engineering is that we do love trees, but we do apply our engineering knowledge to figure out what is the problem with the tree, how we're going to solve it, how we're going to prevent, control, and remediate all these hazards using expertise that only engineering will be able to teach you. And one very important thing about environmental engineering is that it is so diverse. You can work in waste, you can work in soil. Soil erosion is a very big issue. You can work in water, you can work in air pollution, and so much more. Really, what I want to say is so much more, because as human beings, we never run out of new ideas to pollute the planet. And so environmental engineers are really the doctors of the earth, and you will be in need and you will have a job for a lifetime. I have no doubt about it.
Thank you, Dr. Olivier. And to follow up, we have a very short video given by our alumni. and he will describe a little bit his work on the sustainability, which is a very trendy kind of work at this moment. And then all the companies, all the organizations do look very heavily on the sustainability. And our alumni connects actually join a company and really take care of the sustainability subject. So let's look at that short video.
Hi, I'm Kenneth, an environmental engineering graduate from the class of 2019. So just recently graduating, you might be wondering which company I'm working in. Is it PUB, Semcott, NEA, or JDC? Well, I'm here to tell you these are some great companies that you can work for, but as an environmental engineering graduate, the possibilities are endless. Right now, I'm a Sustainability Associate in Deloitte Risk Advisory, providing management consulting services in both the private and public sector. In the essence, the work that I do seeks to advance sustainability to bring about positive change. Some examples of the work that I've done include development and implementation of carbon management strategies that help businesses do well by doing good. In other instances, I've conducted research into combating food and plastic waste, as well as developing climate change adaptation plans for Singapore. So, if you're looking to bring about positive change, endless possibilities await you in NUS.
Looks like we have more questions coming. Dr. Bala, would you like to share with us?
Okay. So what's the difference between research-based and coursework-based career pathways?
In fact, we have three pathways: research and practical, as well as design-based pathway. So it's basically to prepare students to go for different career development in the future. For the practical pathway, we are more targeting students taking the technical electives, which equip them to have knowledge about technologies, about the problem-solving skills, so that they are able to go into the industry right after their graduation and practice as an environment engineer. Research pathway is more actually preparing them to conduct research projects and build up their interest in the environmental engineering field, to do further research, to do further R&D renovation, so that they can actually advance their career as a master student, as a PhD student, and afterwards they can continue to become a postdoc, and then finally they will actually conduct R&D work to advance this environmental science and engineering field. And there's another career which is a more design-based pathway, and this particular pathway is to actually help students to actually incorporate whatever the knowledge skill they have learned into an integrated project with other people with other different type of backgrounds, and so that they are able to come up with some innovation. And they may not be limiting themselves in the environmental engineering field, but they can come up with innovation which benefit the society. So
all right. Do environmental engineering students spend more time in labs or outdoors?
Okay, we have two students here, Chen Yu and Guang Hao. Would you like to share with us whether you spend more time in classes or outdoor activities?
I think it depends on which year you're actually at. So when you are in year 4, we are looking towards a final year project. So heavily dependent on doing research, as well as something that looking to optimize data, for example, is something that I'm doing. But for like undergraduate year 2s and year 3, we do have co-curricular activities, which we were both part of, fortunately. And I think one of my major takeaways was being part of EZ Club. Maybe you like elaborate more about it?
So EZ Club is the committee, basically the Environmental Engineering Students Club. So it's a committee that hopes to enhance the student life of environmental engineering students. So the initiatives that the club plans can range from things like welfare pack giveaways to bonding activities and even personal and professional development opportunities. Yeah. So what I really liked about being in EZ Club was that you not only get to serve the students in your course, but you also get to meet a lot of your friends from the same course as well, because we're all in the same club together. So I was in the club for 2 years, and so it was a very good experience where I got to learn a lot, made a lot of friends, and also basically like made my student life a lot more exciting.
Okay, we have a few more questions. One of the questions is for students here. And so what's the biggest takeaway from your experience here as undergraduate students?
I think for myself, my biggest takeaway is meeting all my friends and my fellow classmates, which we went through a lot of hardships together through our design project, through our modules taken together. And I think this is what builds a camaraderie as well as forge stronger relationships with my friends around me. And I'm really thankful for that.
To build on to what Kwan Hao said, the nice thing about our course is that it's quite small, so you know everyone, and actually you know everyone very well. So like there's really this sense of like cohesion and like family. So it's a really nice feeling. And I think another thing that was quite a big takeaway for me is that I would say the curriculum and all the opportunities that are offered to us in environmental engineering are very holistic. So regardless of what you're interested in, there's always an opportunity for you to develop yourself.
All right. One of the prospective students is interested in using biological treatment to decontaminate wastewater. So what kind of research is currently going on in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering pertaining to biological treatment?
Frankly speaking, there are many different type of the research, different topics going on relevant to the biological treatment of the wastewater. And we have, for example, some very challenging industries water to be treated so that they can discharge to the environment. Then we will need to incorporate biological treatment processes together with some chemical treatment processes, and together we are able to actually make this kind of wastewater to be dischargeable. So this is one kind of them, and we have also other colleagues actually make use of a very innovative, those like bugs, those microorganisms, right? They are able to eat up a certain type of the, very polluted compounds, and then make sure this wastewater become less polluted, so that we are able to have less harm to the environment. So there are many very interesting topics actually currently conducted by our undergraduate students who are doing the final year project, as well as conducted by our master student, as well as a PhD student. So if you get into the program, you will have tremendous amount of these opportunities to work on the problems like such.
And also thinking, and also let's not forget about things like waste, like solid waste, like green waste, composting, food waste, fermentation, so many topics really in so many different fields, so much variety.
One last question. And if students want to expand their knowledge domain to go beyond environmental engineering, to be able to stay relevant to evolving industry, what are the opportunities available?
They can, if the student come into our program and read environmental engineering as a major, but they can definitely expand their knowledge spectrum by having some minor degree, specialization, double major, even double degree. So make use of their 4 years time and 4.5 years for double degree situation. They are able to well equip themselves, okay, not only having environmental engineering, this kind of knowledge, and they also have other disciplines which back up them actually to prepare them to go to the society, to contribute, especially for a very dynamic kind of job market. So in a way, I think we are very certain our students are able to actually pursue like that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bala. Now we come to the end of our e-open house chat session. Thank you for all your participation. And please remember, continue to email us, call us, telegram us, and all the questions you send in, we will make sure we get back to you, and look forward to seeing you very soon on NUS campus. Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Environmental engineers in NUS save the planet and do much more, developing advanced wastewater and water treatment technology, optimizing water reclamation processes and protecting natural resources, managing sustainable clean energy, state-of-the-art waste management, combating air pollution for public health, integrating urban infrastructures with the environment, exploring alternative water resources such as stormwater, join us to engineer tomorrow's environment. Create a better world for future generations. Giving back to the community and helping those in need. Enjoy the close mentorship from world-class educators. Welcome to NUS Civil and Environmental Engineering. Let us shape a sustainable future for Singapore, Asia Pacific region, and the world.